and it's day one and you walking in there on the first day, man, you in there, man. But you feel something. It's right in here, man. And it's screaming, and it's yelling, and it's saying, release me. And it's saying, I am the number one determinant of the success or failure of my students. Hey, y'all, when you get back, kick some butt, and I'll see you in the winner's circle celebrating your victory. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! You got this! You got this! You got this! Thank you, everybody.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to week 186 of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got here. We got Mona Abamolak in the building, John Few, Sharon Wright. Let me know where y'all are coming from too, man. I always want that information. We got Tashika Truesdale, Akima Dawson out there in El Paso. We got Arlette Johnson. She's going to be one of my guests coming up soon, man. The Connecticut AP Principal of the Year. We got Rodney Richardson in the building. We got, where are we at? Marsha Poe out there in San Diego. I think I'm supposed to be coming out there at some point. Marsha, I'll let y'all know when it is. I think I got something coming. We got Sharon Gray in the building out there in Louisville. We got Grace Castaneda, Dr. Rella Hicks, Principal Otis Kitchen the second in the building, man. This thing jumped. I must have got a lot of people came on here just now. Let me see, where am I? Okay, here we go. Scott Wiley's in the building. Dr. Sheikah Houston is checking in. I hope y'all got to see Create and Educate. And then you with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor, and then Sean Hurt starting us off at 10 o'clock this morning. Facebook Live. We got Michael Benton in the building, Rashard Davis. We got the Queen, Kimberly Broughton Kafele, getting ready to have her birthday, man. It's a big one. I didn't ask her if I could give her age, man, so I'm not going to say yet. I'm just going to say it's a big one, y'all. It's a big one. We getting ready to go on that cruise, man. Not this week, but the week after. I'm shutting down, right? But the AP and New Principals Academy will be here live. Y'all know I don't put that on pause, man. I could be sitting here sick. We still gonna have that thing. Here we go. We got Principal Tammy Taylor in the building. Doc McKeever Jeter. Oh, yeah. The retired superstar. We got Lisa DeBose Walker. Principal Sherrod Laws. Hotep to you. That means peace, somebody. Tony McClenny. William Briggs. George Mumford is in the building. We got Jacqueline Harriet up there in Nova Scotia holding it down. She's going to be one of my guests later on as well. We got Kimberly Wilson Daniels. She was a guest last week. Man, she rocked the house, man. If you didn't see that one, go to YouTube, AP and New Principals Academy, and check it out. Where we at? Lily Lanier, Angelise Taranjo Rosales is in the building. Kenyelle Williams. There's Principal Hurt in the building. Man, y'all better get with Principal Hurt with his consultant, and you better get with Tammy Taylor and Sheikah Houston with their consultant, man. They putting in some work, y'all. I can tell you that definitively. We got where we at? Jocelyn Nelson is in the building. Dr. Naima Smith. Man, Dr. Smith is going to be my guest next week. Looking forward. We doing like a two-parter. We're going to talk AP leadership today, and then next week I'm going to talk some more AP leadership, right? So she'll be with me next week from White Plains, New York. Looking forward. Where we at? Lysandra Brackens is in the building. Stacy L. Joy, man, she be making us keeping us out there relevant, particularly on Twitter. I appreciate you every week, Stacy. We got Anthony Cherry in the building. Good to see you, sir. We got Victoria Ruffin Atkins, September Devon Vance Daniels, Dr. Keisha Smith Davis, and Yonkers, from Yonkers by way of Danbury. We got Elizabeth Tab in the building up there in Detroit. Deron Ford, Norfolk, by way of Norfolk, Virginia, by way of, by the way, BTW, Booker T. Washington High School. Oh, that's that. Okay, Norfolk. Okay, I was getting ready to say out there in Tulsa, that would be the Booker T. Washington, where Melissa Jones Chunu went to school. Boy, I'm getting ready to get it rocking, y'all. Lakita Thomas, Golf RWT, my man Tiffany Riddick Adams is in the building. Let me get it started. We got Allison Geary in the building, Casey Washington. Enough, y'all. Let me just see if there's somebody on here that's like one of my homies from here, and I just got to shout them out real quick. Now I don't see nobody. So let me go, y'all. Let me say to you formally, I do see one. I see a homie, man. Newark, New Jersey. Deanna Joy Whitley is in the building. You gave me the Baba title, man. That means you must have seen that post this morning, Deanna. Good to see you. Good to see you. And I see Lou Saunders. I gotta shout you out, man. You family, man. Hey, y'all. Good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 186 of the AP and New Principals Academy. And man, let me just ask you, how you feeling? I'm not going to do the sermon on that. I'm just going to ask you how you're feeling, and you know what you got to do to make sure you're feeling where you need to be. I had a long week. I had a busy week, but I'm going to tell you real quick because I got some things to share with you that if you're curious, I was a young man said to me in my session yesterday, he said, Kafele, man, that energy you bring on the Saturday Academy, he said, you the same way in person. I said, hey man, I ain't faking no funk. That's who I am, right? So, but if you didn't know, let me let you know, I'm on fire! Woo! My son's sitting over there. He's like, yo, dad is tripping. You know, you got it. Listen, y'all. You got to bring them flames, man. You know, and you got to do that mental gymnastics. So when things are not right where you want them to be, you're gonna work yourself. But if it's things that's really, you know, it's in you, then you got to do the things you got to do. You got to partner with the people you got to partner with. You got to do the things you got to do, whatever it is to get you where you need to be. So I'm feeling good, man. Let me go through this rundown because I got the three big time guests on here. So first and foremost, welcome on November 18. I feel like I was just saying August something, and now here we are, November. And I got to shout out a few. West Virginia Department of Education, man. What a day I had with them. The new principals, the APs, the priority school principals. Shout out to West Virginia Department of Education for bringing me through. Shout out to My Brother's Keeper, New York, man. I told y'all I train the young men in public speaking every year in November. So this was part 2, man, all over New York State and New York City, man. Just train them in the basics of being a speaker. But see, since I got them, we don't just talk speaking, y'all. We talking life. I got black and brown teenagers. We talking life. So I deviate. We get the speaking in. But let me talk about how you maneuver through all these isms of the world so that you can live your best life, so that you can live your life on your own terms. So shout out to My Brother's Keeper under Dr. Anna L. Austin, who was a guest of ours going back about maybe a year ago, right? Shout out to Los Angeles Unified School District principals. Shout out to Los Angeles Unified School District assistant principals, man. I met with them in 2 different sessions, man. Ooh, man, I'm just blessed. But the big shout out is to the Center for Black Educator Development, man. Whew. The Center for Black Educator Development, the brainchild, from the imagination, the idea of my man Sharif El-Mekki He was a guest here. He's one of my earlier guests. So I think in like year 2, he was one of my guests, and he created this organization, this nonprofit, to increase the Black educator pipeline, particularly Black men. But he has a conference every year, which is happening right now as we speak. I bet you some of them brothers watching me on the sneak tip while they at the conference right now. I was there yesterday. It's called the Black Men Educators Convening, and oh man, I walked in that general session yesterday, and them brothers was like, Principal Kafele, oh man, I watched the academy every Saturday. And I mean, it was just nonstop. Every time I took the selfie with the one brother, here go the next one, Principal Kafele, they just jump about the seat. Man, I watch you every Saturday. Man, you don't know the impact that academy has on my life. Oh man. And I just kept walking to go find a seat, and they just popping up like popcorn. Principal Kafele, you don't understand. Because this thing, man, we started this thing 4 years ago, man. It's working, it's impacting. And that's what it's all about. Then I did my session. Oh man. Standing room only, man. It was called So You Want to Be an Assistant Principal? Let's talk about it. I told the brothers, man, let me tell y'all, and then I'm gonna stop. I said, look, this not gonna be interactive. I'm gonna tell you right now. We ain't going back and forth. I got 1 hour. I don't have time to listen to the audience members today. So I know it defies what a lot of people, they want to be engaged, they want to talk. Look, when you go to a concert, right? Hear me, somebody, because some of y'all be thinking this way. When you go to a concert, do you want the singer to like be engaging y'all? Like we go around, pass the mic around the room. Didn't you go to the concert to hear the singer sing all their songs? Right? You want the singer to stop and pass the mic around the arena or around the theater so you could say something? You went there to sit still, to dance, maybe to sing along, but you went there for the singer to sing every song that you love. When you go to the football game, you don't want the game to stop so you could have a word, right? Well, sometimes when you see a speaker, sometimes the speaker is just there to teach, not necessarily to be going back and forth. I do those. I do them all the time. But sometimes I just got to go in the room. Yo, let me just teach so I can maximize this time. Like when I do my solo sessions, y'all know I don't be putting these comments on the screen because I'm in a zone. I got one coming up the first Saturday in December. I'm going solo. So I'm locked in. So sometimes you just got to teach. So for them speakers, some of my colleagues out here to be posting stuff about the best presentation is like 50-50. Teaching and then man, get out of my face with that. Sometimes you just got to teach. And sometimes that's all the people want. They just want to go there and absorb, not be engaged in no conversation with the speaker. I mean, that has its place, but sometimes you just got to teach. All right, enough there. Welcome to the first timers, y'all. If this is your first time, because you're here to see one of my 3 guests, right? Don't let this be your last time. Go back to the YouTube channel at AP and New Principals Academy. Hit the subscribe button. Be a part of that 19,600 subscribers, which we're trying to get to 20,000 now. Subscribe and then watch all of them 886 videos, right? But welcome to you. To everyone else, make sure that you like and follow the Facebook page, AP and New Principals Academy. I write them commentaries faithfully every Sunday unless I'm burnt out. And some Sundays I'm worn out, burnt out, and ain't got the energy to lift up a pen. But outside of that, you know, it is about 109, I think, that I've written, right? So check them out. You may find them to be more relevant than some of what you've seen in the broadcast. My books, real quick, I ain't gonna show you all these books, man. I wrote 14 books, y'all. I'm gonna show you these 2. The Assistant Principal 50 and the Assistant Principal Identity, right? If you don't have them, please get them. They coincide, they correspond with the platform. So make sure you get yourself a copy of both. And then the other ones, you can go to Amazon. They got all my books on there, so just go to Amazon. And then lastly, I want to give you this quick my monologue. You know, I do that every Saturday. But I was inspired by Sean Hurt this morning. Sean Hurt comes on at 10 o'clock. And then Sheikah and Tammy, Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor, come on, 10:30. And the two of them, they were talking, you know, they were consistent with one another relative to the season we're in. We're in the Christmas, we're in that holiday season, and schools get a little different sometimes, you know, get a little bit more challenging during this time, you know. So you really got to be on your guard, making sure that things stay tight the way you want it to be. So I said, well, I'm not going to say what Sean said, and I'm not going to say what Sheikah and Tammy said. I said, let me add my 2 cents. Let me say this to y'all. Y'all know that from this book here, The Assistant Principal Identity, the subtitle, and those of you who have been rocking with me, you understand where the subtitle came from: protecting your leadership mindset, fervor, and authenticity, with the key word being protecting. Well, you all know that I kind of came up with that in real time on this platform, right? So I haven't been talking about any of the content of that book, and the book was released in May, and I haven't touched it in terms of the content except once before the book was even published, right? So I want to say this. While we're in that season, this season, and beyond this season, I want to throw these 10 words at you: purpose, attitude, confidence, drive. I'm going to combine 2: drive and determination. We count that as 1. Enthusiasm, urgency, beliefs, truth, spirit, and combining 2 more: happiness and joy. I know I don't have them on the screen because this is not my day. This is my guest day. I'm just doing a monologue real quick. I'm saying to you, as you're in this season, and you may see some behaviors that are a little abnormal from students, depending on where you are and what some of the challenges are in your school, amongst your culture of your school. I'm saying to you, lock in to your purpose for being there, your attitude about what you do, your confidence in your ability to lead, your drive and determination to get it done, your enthusiasm about your leadership, about the work, about the students, about the school, about the staff, your sense of urgency to be successful, your beliefs in those things that are at your core that go beyond research, just your beliefs about what's best for your school, your truth in terms of who you are. You can't be somebody else. You can't walk somebody else's truth. You got to walk your own truth, but you got to be consistent about it. Your spirit, man, that matters. Like what's in your soul about what you do as a leader, and then your happiness, your joy. Here's where I'm going, and then I'm going to zip it, and we're going to go to my guests. You have to not only contain those 10 areas, but you've got to protect them. So hear me well. You might want to rewatch this later on. You got to protect your purpose. You know, we talk about protecting your peace, right? Well, you got to protect your purpose. You got to protect your attitude. You cannot allow your purpose nor your attitude to be compromised, to be sabotaged, to be undermined. You got to protect your purpose. You've got to protect your attitude. You've got to protect your confidence. You've got to protect your drive and determination. You've got to protect your enthusiasm. You've got to protect your sense of urgency. You've got to protect your beliefs. You've got to protect your truth. You've got to protect your spirit, and you've got to protect your happiness and joy. See, if you don't protect them, it's like with anything else. If you don't protect your home, if you don't protect your family, if you don't protect your car, if you don't protect your belongings, then you run the risk of all of them being compromised, being violated. So you got to protect those tangible things. But this intangible, you've got to protect this as well. It has all to do with your effectiveness as a leader. Make sure that you protect it. I'll be hitting that more when I do my solo on the first Saturday of September. I'm going off that day because I don't take the mic often on this. I like to bring guests, but every now and then my mother says, man, you got to grab that mic, man. So I'm gonna grab it on that first Saturday in December, and we got some things to talk about. But for now, Jessica, you there? I'm getting ready to bring y'all up. Here we go. We got where we at. We got my guest. I got to change that background in a second. and I'm gonna do so. Hang on. Here we go. Actually, I covered it up, but I'm gonna still change it because y'all see a little something. I'm a perfectionist, y'all. Good morning. How we doing, everybody?
Good morning. How are you?
That's right. We got the fam in the building. We got the fam. Let me change that background, man. I'm a perfectionist. There we go. Hey, y'all, I'm glad to see you. And it's always good when I got fam in the building. You know, it's just a different vibe. You know, every now and then I bring on someone I don't even know them. I've never met them in my life. And it's a different kind of chemistry. It's not a bad chemistry. It's just a different chemistry. But I know y'all, man. I know all three of y'all, man. So it's a little bit different. Let me read these bios, y'all. Y'all hang in there with me. They're not super long, but I want you to know who's on here. We got Melissa Jones. Do I pronounce your last name correctly when I say Chunu?
Absolutely. It's like you chew your food, buy new shoes. Chunu.
There you go. I wanted to make sure because I say it so much. I've told all these people it's Chunu. So Melissa Jones Chunu was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and attended Tulsa public schools. After receiving a Bachelor of Music Education degree from Oral Roberts University in 2001, she began her teaching career at Alcott and Greeley Elementary Schools, working with Title I students who resided in underserved areas. In 2005, she earned and finished a master's degree in educational leadership from Southern Nazarene University while caring for her mother, Mrs. Linda J. Richardson Jones, who succumbed to acute myeloid leukemia on June 22nd, 2005. And our condolences. I know it was a long time ago, but I'm reading it, so I'm still going to say it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Oriva, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Mhm.
Chunu and Melissa joyfully welcomed their son Jason in 2009, Jason and Hannah in 2010. Did I say that right? Yeah.
Yeah, Hannah.
In 2011, Mrs. Chunu accepted the vocal music and piano lab instructor position at the Booker T. Washington High School, her alma mater. You know, there's a lot of history with that, y'all. And at some point later, we got to just talk about the history of that school, the significance of it being named Booker T. Washington. While at Booker T, Mrs. Chunu served as the Fine Arts Department Chair, Women Empowered sponsor over 160 members when she departed Booker T. Class of 2018 class sponsor, and was nominated as Teacher of the Year. Melissa started her school leadership journey in 2018 and enjoyed serving as assistant principal of Sequoia Elementary School for 2 years and MacArthur Elementary for 2 years. She is the assistant principal of Celia Clinton Elementary School, but has served as a substitute principal at Bell Elementary School, which I remember. Currently pursuing her doctorate degree in administration. I'm talking so fast, and leadership. Superintendent from Oral Roberts University, and is an active member of the ORU, Oral Roberts University Educational Task Force. She's a mentor school leader for graduate students studying educational leadership as they have successfully completed their internship under her supervision. Finally, Melissa enjoys traveling, learning from different cultures, and is a bona fide foodie. Throughout her many years in education, Melissa continues to mentor and nurture students, adults, by encouraging them to overcome obstacles they may encounter, pursue excellence, and achieve their personal goals. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Let's go to Jessica Jones. Has served in the area of education since she graduated with her bachelor's degree in Pan-African Studies, which I didn't realize, from the University of Louisville in 2001. That's a whole conversation later on, Jessica. She initially pursued and completed her first master's degree in higher education and administration while working for the Associate Dean for the College of Arts and Science. At that time, she worked with first-generation college students to provide them with additional support as they navigated the first-year experience. Her work led her to receiving the Graduate Student of the Year Award at the University of Louisville. For the next 5 years, Jessica worked for 2 grant-funded programs, first as an educational counselor for a federal TRIO program, where she served and assisted students with designated high schools with low secondary attendance rates with their college application process. Second, she facilitated a grant-based program providing students of incarcerated parents with mentors at Kentucky State University. Although she enjoyed working with and advocating for the underrepresented groups that she served, because that is still her why today, she stopped ignoring her true passion and returned to school, earned her second master's and teaching certification to become a teacher in 2006 for Jefferson County Public Schools. Before pursuing her third master's degree in education administration and becoming an assistant principal in 2014, Jessica was a high school special ed teacher, specialized in working with students in learning and behavior disorders. She has worked her entire career in schools designated as low performing and worked with school teams dedicated to increasing student achievement and making positive impacts in schools. Finally, Jessica is currently the freshman academy principal, which I didn't realize, at Shawnee High School, located in Jefferson County Public Schools in Louisville, Kentucky. She is married with 3 beautiful children. She is a big sports fan, all things U of L, University of Louisville, Baltimore Ravens, which jumped out at me when I read this because I said, did she follow Lamar over to the Ravens? That's what happened. so Lamar Jackson goes to the Ravens, so you go to Baltimore. I see how that works now, and enjoys watching her oldest son play collegiate basketball at Spalding University. Continuing as a long life learner and committed to one-day teaching at the collegiate level and becoming a published author, Jessica is currently pursuing her PhD in education at the University of the Cumberlands. And lastly, Tera Blackshire Scott. I've known her longer. That's why I saved it for last. I've known Tera for a very long time. She brought me out to her school, and I've known her ever since, and she's a family member and all that good stuff. We're going to give you this one in dates. 1994, Bachelor of Science, Psychology, Auburn University. 96, Master of Education, Early Childhood Special Ed, Auburn University. 2002, Master of Education, Elementary Ed, Troy State University. 2011, Master of Science, Instructional Leadership and Administration at Troy University. 96 to 99, Service Coordinator, Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind Regional Center, Dothan, Alabama. 99 to 2004, classroom teacher, transition first grade, transition second grade, Western Heights Elementary. 2004-5, reading interventionist, Western Heights Elementary School. Then 5 to 11, reading coach, Western Heights Elementary. 11 to 12, reading interventionist, Eufaula High School. In 2012-2019, assistant principal, interim principal, acting principal, Admiral Moorer Middle School. And then 2019, present district test coordinator. In 2022, present district administrator, Eufaula Early Learning Center. You know, it's interesting, Tera, just reading all these different towns where you go into school brought back memories of, like, because I've spoken in all these places and just brought back memories of a whole lot of good people, because I love me some Alabama. So to each of you, the 3 of you, welcome. Glad to have you here. Outstanding track records. And let's talk about a few things. Hey, y'all, we ready. Hit that share button for me. Hit that retweet button for me. Let them know we're here. We're here. We got a lot of things to talk about. We're just talking about what makes an assistant principal great. And, you know, that's a whole seminar. So we just going to touch on a few things, but that's a whole seminar. In fact, it's probably more than a seminar. It's probably a whole book, right? But we're just going to touch on a few things. I want to start with Melissa. Melissa, as you know, because you've been watching, you've probably seen all of these, so you know my first question. As an educator, who is Melissa Jones Chunu?
Well, first of all, thank you, Dr. Kafele, for having me on this show. Such a great honor and a pleasure. I am a relational transformative leader. Relationships is the foundation of everything that I do. From when I worked at elementary school to when I worked in high school, relationships really are the foundation of everything that we do. And yes, academics is very important. We know that the test scores speak for themselves, but people don't care what you know until they know that you care about them, right? And so as leaders, I mean, we have a lot going on. Kids have a lot going on. You know, their trauma is not anything new to students, but to me, back in the day, students have more support, more parental or adult support than they do now. And I think that we as educators, we have to realize that and just continue to build on those relationships or create those relationships that will create student proficiency in their academics. But yeah, that's who I am. I'm a child of God too. Know that.
Oh yeah.
God is the source of my strength and the strength of my life. Amen.
And those of us that follow you on social media, we are clear on that. That's for sure. You know, before I go to the Jessica, let me just say this real quick. When you said relationships, and I want to address this in my space, which is that speaker space. I look at a lot of my colleagues on social media. Because I'm a student of the industry. I really am. And I look at a lot of my colleagues, they don't know I look, because I don't always comment on stuff. I'm just looking. I'm looking to see what they're doing. And one of the things that I notice, some of them, I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but a lot of them, they're posting content related posts all the time. Content, a video, a post, or whatever. It's all content. And in my mind, I'm saying to myself, because I usually know these people, and I'm saying to myself, when are you going to let the people get to know you? See, they don't know you. They just know your content. So with me, I think the way I post, people get a glimpse of who I am beyond who I am as Principal Kafele. They get to see Baruti, right? So when I walk into a space and the love I receive from people when I'm in these spaces is because they feel like they know me, not just content, right? Like I know this dude, right? Because I'm consistent with it. Well, that's the relationship that you're talking about. And it's, of course, it's not the relationship where in terms of who I am in the building, but it's what I'm creating through social media, through the internet, so that when they do see me, it's like, I feel like I know him, man. Because young lady said to me, I walked in the room yesterday, Principal Kafele, and she might be listening. I don't know, but but don't worry about it. So she said to me, she said, Principal Kafele, like, I said, man, y'all here early. Yeah, we wanted to get a seat. And then she said, like, I shouldn't be saying this, but I know where you were this week. I know you and your wife going on the cruise soon for her birthday, right? I'm like, oh, right? So so that it was like a connection, right? Because like she knew me beyond content. Yeah, so for the audience out there, if you could take that and transfer it, what Melissa's saying, man, that relationship is so crucial. We get so bombarded with academics that we forget the humanity that is sitting in the classroom. Let me stop preaching, y'all. Jessica, as an educator, who is Jessica Jones, in addition to the one that handed me my favorite bat, man? Came from this young lady. She didn't buy it, but she's the one that handed it to me. Yeah. Go ahead, Jessica.
Good morning, and I echo the same sentiments as Melissa. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on this platform with you, one that totally shaped my assistant principalship, especially during COVID and beyond. And again, I'm grateful. I will say real quick, when I first got your message back in August, I said, "Is this spam? Like, is it really for me?" And I replied and I answered right away, but I didn't say anything to anyone until you just messaged me again this week to give me the date. So I was like, "Oh, great, it's real." So I'm just so excited to be here. I am, and I almost wore the shirt today, but I decided to go with a dope assistant principal instead. But I am a hope dealer. Me and my team, we are hope builders. I want to be that role model, that change agent, the bridge to my students' futures. I want to be whatever they need, because sometimes they need the mama me, sometimes they need the auntie me, sometimes they need the friend in me, but I want to be whatever they need because I know I am needed. And sometimes it is definitely exhausting, but whatever they need. And that's what I would like to provide for my students. And I hope to provide each and every day that voice, that spotlight to those that are invisible. I'm that type that never likes to see somebody sitting alone unless they want to be alone.
Yeah.
But I'm going to check in with them anyway. So I'm their number one cheerleader, their number one fan. And as you said, Melissa, relationships matter. They teach me TikTok videos. We do dances. I wear my J's, coordinate with them. So I mean, relationships matter, and that is my assistant principalship.
I love it. Hope dealer, and it's resonating with a lot of people out there too. Tera Blackshire Scott in the building. Who is, as an educator, Tera? Who is Tera Blackshire Scott?
Good morning to everybody, and thank you for having me. And I echo the sentiments of Melissa and Jessica. I didn't tell a whole lot of people that I would be doing this. I just shared it on social media. I thought, I don't know if I can do this. I don't even feel worthy. So
Oh,
thank
please.
you so much. But for me, I can start with the student role. I am passionate about the students that we serve. I am an advocate for students. I'm always looking out for their best interest. I, like the other young ladies have mentioned, I understand the importance of building relationships with the students so that they can trust you and believe that they have someone in their corner who understands them and who is going to be there to advocate for them. Also, when it relates to the adults in the building, I am a firm believer in the importance of professional growth and development. So in my building, I think it's my mission to ensure that my faculty and staff that they consistently grow and develop and not become stagnant because the world around us is always changing. So we always have to be relevant and knowledgeable so that we can do what's best for our children that we serve.
I love it. I love it. Let's go. Each of you are public school administrators. Two of you were assistant principals. That was Jessica and Tera. And Melissa is still, but will probably be a principal very soon, right? And even a superintendent at some point, with that being part of the vision, right? But you all came out of the classroom, and I know that directly, Tera, you were reading interventionists, but still working with young people. But it culminated into a desire, for whatever the reason, whether it was being coached by somebody else or you just had this desire to become an assistant principal. So with that desire to become assistant principal, what impact did you envision that your assistant principalship would have on the pedagogy of staff, teachers, and the lives of children? What did you envision? And let me start with Jessica on that one. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Yes. Well, I wanted to make sure that my students their needs were always met first. Coming from when I decided I wanted to be an assistant principal, I wanted to impact change in the way education was brought to our students. Again, working with special populations, ECE students, exceptional childhood education students with learning and behavior disabilities, I felt that there was some things that I could share to make them more successful in the classroom and overall in the school building. I noticed the underrepresented groups, and I just knew that there was more that could be done for them. Just because they learned differently didn't mean that they could not learn. Just because we was in an area where they were considered low performing or a bad area didn't mean that they didn't have futures, bright futures in the future. I just knew that there was something more that I could offer outside the classroom, and therefore I was first a teacher leader in helping other teachers understand the needs of certain students that had challenges, and then I in turn progressed and wanted to make sure that I was in leadership so I can make sure that was at the forefront of all of this decision making.
Sounds good. And I should have told you, I got for each of you on this question, I got a 4-parter. So I'm gonna stay with you for a little bit, Jessica, then I'm gonna move around. But when you think about once you got there, if you can go back into time and your dream of this role, and then the actuality of this role, were there any inconsistencies in the dream and new actuality? And I asked that question for the benefit of the people who are watching right now, because I know I had a certain vision, dream vision of what it was going to be. And then I got there and it was something radically different from what I had anticipated it would be. Did you have any of those?
Oh, absolutely. Um, One of my favorite movies was Lean on Me.
Me too.
and, and I envisioned myself going in, female Joe Clark
Hmm.
and, being hard and heavy in the same way that I kind of was taught in my initial teaching certification. I, you're so soft spoken. Don't let the kids into your personal life too much. And so immediately, and I'm gonna go back to when I was in that classroom. Immediately, I tried to come in and be somebody that I wasn't,
Mm.
and I was not very I was not very open. I was not very personable. And I remember my first observation, my students were so awful. And and then we talked about it afterwards and it was just like, well, you're mean. We don't like you. And I was like, I can't believe that you all don't like me. I'm trying to do this. Well, you shouldn't do that. And so we had like a family meeting. And then from then on, I always had to remember to be myself. And so when I became an assistant principal, I went back a little bit again. It's like, I got to be this firm person, no nonsense type of leader. And I learned again that just isn't the way, especially with my population of students. So I had to scrap all of that and just be committed to who I am and in the way that I do things. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the same way that others do them, but I have to be confident in my own leadership. I have to be confident in my own self, and I know when to do, just enough and pull it back. So those are the type of things that I was surprised. I didn't expect to be on my feet the entire day as I am right now. There's some days I have to make little timers on my watch to sit down, to grab something to eat, to even use the restroom at times. But it's busy work. I didn't see that, as well as I'm kind of OCD on organization, and that doesn't happen very often. I just come in and hit the ground running. Some days I've learned to put down things that I have to do, that I know I need to do, and stay committed to that and try to be organized in that way. But I just never know day to day, and that's okay. I
Yeah,
had to be okay with that.
that's right. That's right. What you said about watching Lean on Me. Um, a lot of people on this platform know I watched it a zillion times. And my first year, talking about my first year as a principal now, I literally tried to be him, and it didn't work. It worked in the sense that there was a high degree of respect for me, right? It brought about order in the building. It did all those things, but what it did not do was translate into academic achievement. It's in fact, my scores decreased, although there was order in the building and respect for me as this new principal, right? So I had to do some soul searching and come to the conclusion, I just need to be me. I need to be my authentic me. And this is what Malika Davis was just saying, authenticity, the kids can feel it. So I just had to be me. And that's when my career started going where I had envisioned that it could go. My third question to you, Jessica, I don't have to ask because you answered it. The question was there any reconciliation? And you went on and answered that question. So let me give you this fourth one. If you were, and I'm gonna give the others the same questions, the same line of questions. If you were on a panel discussion and the moderator asked you, and they give you 60 seconds, right? Short, those short panel discussion questions. The moderator said, Jessica Jones, if you could sum up what makes a great assistant principal, what would you say if you were sitting on a panel and under those circumstances with an audience and they gave you 60 seconds?
What makes a great assistant principal? An assistant principal has to be that champion for their students, for their building. Assistant principal has to mirror the leadership of their principal. There's no assistant without the principal. So we have to have a shared vision. The assistant principal has to be in charge of students, but as well as teachers, providing, being the instructional leader of the building. Let's see.
I mean,
Also, just a lifelong learner. We don't know everything. We're not masters in all content areas, but we must make sure that we continue with professional learnings to grow our craft and to become better in instructional capacity.
I love it. I love it. And particularly what you said about that relationship between the AP and the principal, right? There is no assistant if there is no principal, right? And good stuff, strong stuff. Tera, let me go to you with the same line of questioning. Here you are, you come out of the classroom, but before you come out, you obviously evidently had a vision of being an assistant principal. And the same question, what did you envision of who you'd be in that capacity, and did the reality and the vision, did they coincide? And as I asked Jessica, in terms of what you envision, your impact on pedagogy and on the lives of children.
I would say that what I envisioned as I came out of the classroom was that I would be someone who would be there to support teachers in their growth and development, because I began teaching first and second grade, and that was at the time where the Alabama Reading Initiative was hot and heavy in our area. And for whatever reason, reading became my passion. And I was effective at doing what I did as far as instructing students. So people would come in and observe my classroom as it was a demonstration site. And my administrators and even district level people would say to me, you need to go and further your education because you're doing a great job. And I didn't really see that I was doing such a great job. I was just going in and handling the business. But they saw something in me that they felt like I needed to go further.
Mm.
And in so doing, I did see some things along the way that I didn't necessarily agree with as it related to being a teacher. The way that sometimes students are treated, not seeing the best in them, allowing their discipline to impact our view of them. And so I knew I needed to go further because I wanted to change the mindset of some teachers and leaders for that matter, to understand that just because a child may be behaving in a certain way, that's not really who that child is. There are things that cause children to behave that way. So as I began to work toward becoming a leader, I did see that I couldn't make the change immediately. I wanted to impact change immediately. But I think over the years of working, people in my district have a firm understanding
Mm.
that I do view children as individuals and not their behavior. That doesn't necessarily define who they are. And I try to help them understand and see things from multiple points of view, so that we can do what's best for children.
So talk to us about, were there any inconsistencies regarding what you envisioned going in as this AP and what this work actually became for you? And if so, how did you resolve it?
Yes, there were some inconsistencies because I wanted to just work with teachers. And of course, that's not always the case because we know there's the day to day work that goes on in the building. You have to handle discipline, you have to do bus duty and all the things. And so I was fortunate enough to work in the middle school where you came, Principal Kafele, with a wonderful leader who wrapped her arms around me, and she wanted to teach me everything that she knew. And she truly was an instructional leader. So I was able to walk alongside with her so I could get that instructional side, of leadership and also handle some of the management types of things. I don't really appreciate the management side of it as much because that's not where my passion lies, but I know that's part of the work. So that was the biggest inconsistency for me.
Love it, love it. And is she still at the school?
No, she has retired, but we still kind of work together outside of school.
I love it. Tell her I said hello.
I will.
So now here you are. You're on a panel discussion somewhere. Like you're on one right here, actually. And the moderator asks you, give us a summary. What makes a great assistant principal? What would you say?
I would say that a great assistant principal is one who understands their role to assist and work in tandem with their principal so that they, like we've already mentioned before, have this shared vision that they're working together, as my principal would say, rowing in the same direction and speaking the same language as that principal. Because my principal would always say it doesn't matter whether the staff members come to the principal or the assistant, the message is always the same. And we made sure that because we had attended many of your sessions, Principal Kafele, we had a mission statement in our school and we knew it, the staff members knew it, the children knew it, and that's how we operated. Everything that we did led back to that mission statement that we recited every single day.
Wow, wow. That mission statement, folks, before I go to Melissa, oh man, it's so important. It's so important. As I always say, a school without a mission is a school that ain't about nothing, because the mission statement is what defines who you are and what you're about. So it's not enough to have it documented and posted all over the walls. It's got to be known. It's got to be recited. It's got to be walked into. It's got to be felt by everybody. It's got to be the rudder that drives what we do. So to the fam out there, if you know that mission statement is non-existent or it's just documented on the wall, it's good wallpaper, right? Makes the school look a little nicer because you got something on the wall, but it doesn't mean anything. Then when you get back Monday, go to the principal, or if you're a principal watching right now, go back and rethink that. And then engage your staff in devising a mission that speaks to who you are and what you're about. And then couple that with the vision of where you're going. Those two matter. Got to be recited every day to start your school day. Let me go to Melissa. Same question, but I'll restate it to you, Melissa. Here you are going back, coming out of the classroom or in the classroom, but got your eyes on administration and you want to be an assistant principal. You probably want to be a principal, but you know that first step, I gotta do the assistant principalship just to get my feet wet and learn this whole thing called leadership. But you had a vision of what it might look like, and you thought about how you might impact the pedagogy and of the teachers in the lives of the children, right? So I'm just asking you, therefore, what did that look like for you?
Well, I kind of had an advantage because I was a music teacher.
Yeah.
So I taught in elementary. I got to see all the kids. When I taught in high school, I saw it wasn't a deal for me to have 100 kids in my class at a time without an aide, right? So when I went into administration, I think that I had the relationship issue down packed. It was dealing with a lot of the issues that parents might bring in or that students might bring in and actually handling them effectively. Like me, I mean, when I was in high school, teachers would always send their kids to me, right? And then they would talk to me and let me know what was going on in their lives, and then we talk it through. But this was more like being in leadership. I had more of a spirit of influence over what was going on and how we were going to handle situations, not only with students, but with families alike. And so also, with me being in music, I was kind of restricted to one area, which was my classroom. Being in leadership, I'm able to impact other teachers. So actually able to give them instructional strategies in order to improve their instruction in class, and so when I was a first year principal, or assistant principal, as a music teacher, I was always able to give feedback. Well, giving feedback to adults is a little bit different, right? And so I always wanted everybody to feel okay. So sometimes I would just like skip over, saying something that they needed to hear. But as I grew, I was like, well, no, this is something that teachers need to hear, because it's not about the teacher, it's about the students when we're in the building. And so for me not to say anything, for me to just be quiet, that was harming our students, and it was harming the mission of our school, which was to increase student proficiency or to increase their performance. So that was something that I definitely grew in as an administrator. Put on my big girl underwear, big girl panties, and was able to say what I needed to say, and didn't really care, what was going to come back at me, because there's always going to be something that comes back. But recently in our district, we did an Enneagram test, and I was rated as a 2. And on that is like relational, like 2s are relational, and they care what people think about them, and they care what people say. And I was like, okay, well, I'm a 2, but I'm really not a 2. I'm really a 7, because I don't really care what people say. Like, I want people to like me. That's good. But if it's not benefiting students, yeah, I'm going to be that person to come down, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay,
Mhm.
because you put students first. You put
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So talk to us about that reconciliation then, about relative to what you envisioned and then the actuality of what it was. How'd you reconcile that?
So I think, like, the actuality was, unpredictable, and as Jessica said, you got to be flexible. Like, I guess I'm somewhat organized, but I've become a better organizer. But yet I know that I have to be flexible. So you have a lot of things going on at the same time. You got to be on it. I really had to come to that resolve. Like, using Outlook is okay. It's okay to have that calendar. Those organizational tools, those resources that are used, it was okay. And it's also okay for me not to know everything. As a music teacher, I was bomb. Like, I knew everything about music. But when I got into administration, I didn't know everything. And it was okay for me to admit I don't know everything. But I knew people who knew who knew a lot more than me. And I knew that I could go and I could talk to them. I know people often say that leadership is a lonely position, and it is. There are some aspects that are lonely. But if you surround yourself with people who know what they are doing and who have been through what you have been through, they can give you that advice, they can give you that encouragement, and they can lead you, help to guide you to where you need to go. So there is aspects of leadership that are lonely, but it doesn't have to be super lonely. Like, you can be in a group of people, just like what Principal Kafele has provided with us. This platform with the AP Academy. I mean, it's wonderful. I don't feel alone. Do you feel alone? Okay.
That's right. That's right. You said something here before I give you this last question. Not having to know it all. Let me tell you something. Once I got past that first year and my Joe Clark ego tripping, I've been good ever since then. So like to put it in the context of years, ever since 1999, I've been good with publicly not feeling I have to know it all. I don't know everything. And despite whatever platform I've built for myself that God has allowed me to build, or God built for me, however we're going to look at that, as far as my place in the world publicly, I still don't have a hard time saying I don't know it all, right? So I know that I'm a go-to for different people in different areas of education. I understand that. But the fact of the matter is, I'm good with the fact I don't know it all. And I think that because I can admit that, it makes me that much more authentic. I know where to find the information, and I'll do that. But I don't have to be a know-it-all. But in the context of the fam who's watching today, what's key is how you identify those people on your staff who know things you don't know, and then how you utilize those people. Right? They're not necessarily just the classroom teacher. They have other strengths, they have other gifts, they have other talents, they have other abilities. And the question is, have you forged the relationship? There's that word again. they have the willingness to jump in that fight with you and go the extra mile because they have a certain skill set that's going to benefit the school that you may not have as one of the leaders. See, that's what's key. So that's that relationship and that humility at the same time, right? And if that's not there, then how are we going to get it done, man? All that human capital in the building, all those human resources in the building. So my question, Melissa, is the same one. You're on a panel discussion at some conference, and the moderator asks you, could you sum up what makes a great assistant principal?
So I think it's a lot of empathy that you have to have as a leader, not only for teachers, but for students. When I was at one of my schools, we had a student, and it was an elementary school, and she was caught in the drug ring. So she was having students go and put money at the top of their lockers, and she was going around replacing it with Reggie weed, right? So, I mean, this is elementary school. And so, of course, she had to be, suspended because that was policy. But I was like, girl, I'm about to start selling Avon, and I'm going to put you on my team because you have a great work ethic. Like you can really, you really know how to work things. You know how to work a business. We just have to change your product, right? You can't sell drugs. That's not the way we do things. And so she went ahead and went to middle school, and she came back the next year and was like, hey, Chunu, I'm on the debate team. I'm doing cheerleading. She was doing all of these great things, and she's getting ready to graduate from high school this year. But I think that we have to we have to see people past where they are at that moment. That's that empathy that we as leaders have to have. Teachers, they go through a lot. They have a lot of personal issues, and yet, I know that cannot affect what goes on in the classroom, but really being situationally aware about what's going on in your school building and with your students, with your teachers, with your family members. I think that really helps to play an important part in a school leader really being a leader, because then you can provide resources that will help our students get better, that will help our families become better, become more involved. I think that we have to have that listening ear. Sean Hurt talked about that this morning, so that Sheikah and Tammy talked about having that listening ear. Sometimes, again, we might know a lot, but our families, they know a lot too. Just because they don't have degrees does not mean that they don't know. And we need to welcome them into our buildings, because a lot of times they can say something that might positively impact a student or a teacher that we might not even have thought about. So always having, keeping your village, because the parents are part of the village. Even though they might seem quote unquote ghetto, they have a lot of knowledge, and you don't want to throw that to the side. Like you don't. And so I think a good leader is a lifelong learner. Like Jessica said, like you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to take risks. I know this year our school is an MRI school, so it's the most rigorous improvement school. And so our ILDs and our instructional leader, they have us in this course called TCI. And so it's a different way of providing feedback to teachers, right? Well, we've been trained on real-time teacher coaching. They have a way of giving feedback. We have AIC feedback. There's a lot of different ways, but just being flexible and being a lifelong learner, learning how to try new things, even if they don't work, and then knowing when to move on, like that is very, very, very important. And then being supportive to the principal. Like I've heard the message from both ladies, we have to be on one accord. Like as AP, I can have my own vision, but I'm not the leader of the school.
Yeah.
The principal is the leader of the school. So it is my job to support whatever she has going on in that school. And when or if I get my own school, then I can implement my vision. But as a good AP, yeah, staff know I'm like for my principal. Like I don't have to agree with that principal. And if I have something I need to say, I can go behind closed doors and say what I need to say and be all right. But in front of people, we're always putting on this front, like this is the way it is. This is our culture here at our school. And that makes a great AP.
I like what you said about that behind closed doors. And again, I'm always thinking about the fam that's out here watching, or the ones who will watch the video, which is the bulk of who watches this. This the video watchers more than the live watchers. And we got to, if for whatever reason you can't establish a real rapport relationship with that principal, then then that relationship will probably never be the productive relationship that that school needs, right? But we don't have to settle any differences in public eye, public view,
Absolutely.
right? That's behind closed doors. But you know, something else you said, that inner ear, when you were quoting Sean, and I think about, I think about a lot that third eye, and I started saying that third ear, right? That ear that goes a lot deeper than what we literally hear and listen to, right? And that's important. You know, you got that third eye, that you got that insight that goes beyond what you see, but that third ear, that you hearing things that were never articulated, but you heard it loud and clear, man. That third ear. So Jessica, anyone that knows anything about my work as it relates to the assistant principal will know that I go around preaching a sermon that's entitled "The Assistant Principalship is the most misunderstood and underutilized position in all of education." And that title is rooted in instructional leadership, because I see it with my own eyes. I'm in these schools, and I see that assistant principal that supervises, evaluates X number of teachers, but never sees them. And hence that title, the most because if that person is operating in that role, it's because the principal said, this is your job. Right. I don't think that AP just walked in there and chose, I just want to be a full-time disciplinarian. The principal said, here's how I need you, because the culture was laying back saying, when you going to give me some love? When you going to give me some attention? When you going to give me some affection? When you going to bring me so that I can do my part, so that assistant principal's not dealing with discipline, because discipline is no longer an issue. So my question to you, and I'm going to ask all three of you the same question. Why are we still, Jessica, getting this AP role wrong as it relates to instructional leadership when that person has teachers that they supervise and evaluate? And of course, I'm asking your opinion.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with what Melissa mentioned earlier. Her example using the music teacher. Sometimes I think because we come from different content areas of specialty, or some of us with the arts, or in my case, special education, where we serve multiple content areas, we're not seen as an instructional leader. And so we have to work a little harder and get more involved in the PLC and all the different type of professional development sessions that we have to be able to be seen as that instructional leader. In doing so, also we have to make sure that we know the different instructional needs that the building that our schools are needing. We had to be well versed in, the achievement gap areas, what assessments we are taking. We have to talk. We have to talk the instructional talk. We also have to be in the classrooms. So not only necessarily being the disciplinarian, we must do our walkthroughs. We, must do our evaluations. We have to take that time. I struggle with that because I can get wrapped up in all the day-to-day things. And like I said, it's one of those things I have to stay organized and not squirrel, as my team says I do quite often. But also we have to support one another. I know I would be nothing without my other assistant principals. We help each other. We keep each other, focused on the work. And, we have those tough conversations with one another when we need to. But also I make sure that I reflect a lot. I talk to my teachers. I take the time to get to know them, to get to know the areas that they may have gaps in themselves, and work to create a plan to help them, improve instructionally as well. So one of the my areas that I'm in charge of is new teacher support. I have my new teacher academy. Uh, in a low performance school, we do see a lot of new teachers from year to year,
Mm.
and that is one of those things that I work on. We have monthly meetings. We try to coordinate those sessions with things that are pertinent for that time period. Like the first session was on growth plans and classroom management, and then we've been in classroom management for a couple of months now, but then we'll have like some tips for evaluations, for lesson planning. So just being a part of that instructional focus, and making sure that you just do not get caught up in the discipline, the buses, the lunch duty, all the things that we have to do, but to make sure that we're keep in mind that we are instructional leaders as well.
I want to stay with you, Jessica. Um, Oftentimes, whether it be in my audiences or inboxes or how in emails, I can't forget those. Folks will say to me, I hear you, Principal Kafele, with this whole instructional leadership / instructional coaching. They said, but the reality is we have some overwhelming behavioral challenges in our school that keep me inundated with being a disciplinarian. What are your thoughts on how we overcome that, or how we utilize an AP, so that if that AP is an evaluator of X number of teachers, that AP can be a coach of those teachers, despite the perception of the behavior. When my strong position, anyone that knows my work knows I'm big on school culture, because I just feel that if a school culture is what it needs to be, that school family has crafted and molded this culture into what we need it to be, that AP is not going to have a lot of work to do as it relates to behavior, because the culture becomes the mouthpiece. I kind of threw a sermon in there, but the question really was, once again, what would you say to that AP that feels I'm just so inundated with these behaviors?
Well, again, the role of the assistant principal is to be that instructional leader. Whether we want to or not, we have to get into those classrooms. So therefore, we have to plan for it. We have to have our time protected as well. So I know in working with my team, we have a unique makeup where we're academy principals. Our principal is considered the executive principal, and we operate as little mini schools within a school. So I'm the freshman academy principal. We have a freshman academy counselor. We have our own security. And so when I need to get into the classroom, it's about communicating with my security and my counselor. I have to do this for this amount of time. Will you all take care of everything else so I can protect my time? And so it's a matter of just shifting around, trying to make sure we support one another. We have different times in our building where we have our PLC days, we have our EPD days, that's embedded professional development days. There are times when we miss. This week, I missed a lot, just because, like you mentioned in your monologue, this that time of the season
Sure.
that it's a little struggle.
Yeah.
But I know I can catch up. I know somebody else will be there. It's a matter of a conversation with them, but we just have to make sure that we protect our time, we stay organized, we make sure we do what we're supposed to do, and then it doesn't matter if the kid is not has not physically harmed themselves or someone else in an absolute manner where it's an emergency, they can sit and wait for me. And so I've had to, that was something I struggled with at the beginning of my assistant principalship, was thinking I had to do everything at that moment, but they can wait, and they can wait, and they will wait until I get to them. So I'm not going to leave the classroom unless it is an absolute emergency. I need to do what I need to do instructionally first.
I love that. I love that commitment, that you understand that classroom has got to take priority, because that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where the learning is taking place. Let me go to Tera. Same thing, Tera. Why do we continue to get this assistant principalship wrong as it relates to instruction?
I think we sometimes get it wrong because we don't take the time to really consider the message that's coming forth and valuing the role of the assistant principal. In my building, we have what I call courageous conversations.
Mm.
And those take place in our faculty meetings. They occur in our instructional leadership team meetings. And then I've invited teachers to have one-on-one conversations with me, because I recognize and understand that in the full faculty meeting, they don't always want to be forthcoming and share what's really on their heart. So we have that time to talk one-on-one. So it takes us being, as leaders, as transparent as we possibly can be, so that everyone involved will understand that it takes all of us working together. And oftentimes in order to build those relationships so that teachers understand where you're coming from, that we do need to see the assistant principal as more than a disciplinarian. They need to understand who you are and your why, like we've mentioned before. And if they understand that my role is the instructional things that happen in the building, like we've already mentioned, discipline can sometimes wait because that's not the main thing at the moment. Again, it goes back to those conversations and them understanding that my focus is on this priority right now and other things can wait. And it takes us reflecting on what's going well, what's not going well, and not getting stuck in the mindset of doing things the way we've always done them. We have to step back and try some new things. And it also relates to what we've mentioned before, the culture and the climate. Because if you see that the culture and the climate is not what it should be, then we have to step back and look at what's going on and what we can do to change that. And again, I have to remind myself that that change doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't happen quickly. We have to be intentional about what we do. And so as a leader, I try to put things in place to kind of help with that process.
I love it. And, you said we can't stay in this mode of doing things the way we've always done it. And I think about, I won't profess to know every graduate school program across America as far as how they prepare students for leadership. But I will say this, I've had a lot of conversations with people, and in so many grad schools, they're preparing the graduate student to become a principal, something that they're not going to immediately become. They're going to become an assistant principal. The roles parallel, theoretically speaking. But I feel that in grad school, they should take a realistic look at what might an assistant principal look like within the districts that are adjacent to the university. What might that role look like to better prepare that person to step into that role, which is inclusive of instruction? But if we're preparing grad students for the theoretical principalship that they may not see for the next 5 to 10 years, right? Then what are we doing, right? So we gotta rethink that whole thing. I love it. So Melissa, same question. Where are we getting that wrong, and why?
Yeah, I agree with you, Principal Kafele. I'm not putting blame on anybody, but I think the universities do have a part in playing and the lack of administrators or school leaders not really being able to lead schools to the next level. There's a lot of emphasis put on different theories that are not relevant to the time frame that we are in. And so I think experience is the best teacher in really forming those relationships. Universities need to form relationships with schools, with K through 12 schools or pre-K through 12 schools, start offering those internships, and like really not at the graduate level. It really needs to start at the undergraduate level. It needs to be a class. It literally needs to be a class. And they need to go into the school, get to know the community, get to know the students, get to know the principals, like get to know the teachers, get to know who they're dealing with, and not just throw them in, like throw them to the wolves, because that's really what's happening. People going into school so they can get their loans paid off, and that's not cool either. Like there's a purpose, right? We are in education for a purpose, and it's not about getting our loans paid off. God will supply our needs, but there is always a purpose for us being where we need to be. And I think universities have to do their job in making sure that our our administrators are prepared for that. But then also, just us as leaders ourselves, we have to take initiative. And if we're not getting what we need from our school district, we need to take initiative and go find what we need. Like go out and go to that professional development, go to that class that you're lacking. When I first came into administration, I would go to Saturday schools that our district offered, talking about different reading styles. I mean, you can't just sit back and be like, well, this is not going to work. This is because of whatever reason. You have to take initiative, and we just have to make sure that the job gets done, which is student proficiency.
That's the bottom line.
That's it.
Student proficiency. Hey, Jessica, we've been talking about this word relationships. It's come up in a lot of these questions as far as the responses. And I'm always thinking about the AP principal relationship, whether it be a one-to-one, one AP, one principal, or several APs in one principal. Or you got 4 APs in a school, and 1 or 2 of them have this great relationship with the principal, but 1 or 2 others have a very toxic relationship. So my question, I'm thinking about that AP that might be on the call right now, or who will see the video later, and they're saying, "Oh, you talking to me right now, Kafele? My relationship with my leader is not good." What advice might you have for that AP? It's easy to talk about what advice we have for the principal in terms of what that principal should be doing, but it's a different conversation when we talk about what advice does one have for the AP that's in that relationship toward making that relationship a better relationship as opposed to this toxic relationship.
Well, fortunately, my relationship with my principal is awesome. It's great. She has been my mentor even before I became an assistant principal. She was one of the first Black female, the first Black female principal in my county I grew up in, and that's Shelby County, Kentucky. So shout out to Kim Rice. But I would say that if you are struggling with that relationship, do all the things it takes to make sure that you grow in your relationship. It's just like any new relationship or any relationship that is tense. Find some commonalities, learn which areas that you all, we do some personality tests. Sometimes it's just a matter of personality conflicts, and what how you operate, know how they operate, and figure out how to work together. But at the bottom line, that person is your boss, and so you need to take the extra to get to know the things that you need to know about your boss. Just like with your teachers, you need to know about your teachers. You need to know what they do well, what they don't do so well. I mean, you're doing that kind of investigative work to make sure you're on the same page, because overall, again, You are the assistant principal that is your building principal. They're the person that's in charge, and you just have to form that relationship. Whether, I mean, and it's okay to have just a professional relationship with someone. You don't have to be best friends. You don't have to go out and eat dinner once a month or something, but you do need to make sure that you find a way to make that relationship work. And sometimes it's a lot of work to do so, but it's worth it, because you can see the benefits of a school culture if you and the principal are on the same page.
Nailed it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let me go to where we at. Tara, same question. What advice or what options might an AP have in that situation?
I think it's so important to have open and honest communication and conversations. If you find yourself in a situation where you're not on the same page and it's hard to work with that principal, the conversations are necessary. They're hard to have sometimes, but they are necessary. I had the fortunate opportunity to work with a wonderful principal, and that wasn't my experience initially. But as she moved on and did other things, I did have another principal, and we had to just kind of get to know each other better. We had to have those courageous conversations and determine what roles she wanted me to support her in, so that we could clearly establish those lines and those boundaries and stay in communication with each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes that works, but then there are times when you just can't move past that. And I would just suggest that you reach out and find other people to support you, to encourage you, to motivate you, that may be outside of that building, within the district, or even beyond there. But I think that it's so important to have that support, whether it be with the person working directly with you, or if you have to find that support elsewhere.
I love it. I love both your responses. And before I go to Melissa, I just want to throw this in. This is a real issue, and I, I'm like that lean on person. Folks are leaning on me just because of the way I position myself in the world, and I hear this all the time. Like Kafele, man, I'm in a bad situation. The principal, the relationship we have, right? So that's why I wanted to get this input from you all, so that other voices beyond just my own could be heard as it relates to this. So Melissa, same question. What advice, what options might the AP have that's in that kind of a relationship with the principal?
Number one, don't go discussing your problems with other teachers in the building.
Woo, woo.
Don't do that. Because if you do,
It's over.
it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. And it's not gonna be pretty, because that's human nature. So don't do that. Be very tactful in what you're doing. You are a professional, number one. And it doesn't matter how you feel. Your feelings are one thing, but your money is another thing. And you don't want to mess with your money. Okay, so don't go talking. Be very quiet. If you need to talk to somebody, call Jessica or Tera, or call Principal Kafele or Sheikah or Tammy or Sean, or call, whoever you need to call. Call Hefe, call somebody who been where you been, right? Let them know what's going on. Let them, encourage you. Call me. My number 918-855-7325.
Oh,
Call somebody that's been there. You don't go talking to other people. But definitely communication is the key, right? Like, you gotta communicate, and you cannot keep things in. If you don't, nobody's a mind reader. I'm not. And if you don't really tell somebody, people could think, they could have an idea of what you might be thinking, but until you actually tell them what you're thinking, like, you gotta be honest. But there's a way to do things. There's a respectful way to do things. There's a professional way to do things. So just, get behind closed doors, and then y'all just hash it out. And it might not be pretty, and that might not be the place for you, and that's okay. And that's really okay. If that's not the place for you to be, good, learn what you can while you're there, and then move on. But don't go trying to start mess, because that's not okay.
yeah. And let me just reiterate that part you said almost at the end. Every place is not the place for you.
That's true.
And you can try your best to try to make it work. You know, I would support that. But at some point, you may have to reach that conclusion that there's a better place in another part of town, or maybe it's in another town, right? Or as I've learned, many, sometimes that place is in another state.
Mm,
That,
yeah.
that has come my way across my desk on several occasions. Principal Kafele, I had to relocate to another state. My whole family, we packed up and we traveled somewhere else, and now I'm at peace. Right. So, you know,
Mhm.
so don't, you know, because you grew up in that town and you're loyal to that town, and now you feel you want to give back to that town. Sometimes that's not the right place for you. It was a good place when you were a student, but it may not be the place for you as a leader. Right. And I'm not trying to be, I don't want to be reckless and encourage somebody to go call the mortgage company. I'm not saying that to you, but I'm just saying, you know, sometimes we got to go elsewhere. I stayed loyal to the city that produced me for years as a teacher, as a principal, but the politics shifted. It was a new superintendent that came in. I had to bounce.
Yep.
I left. I was asked not to. Who called me? The mayor of the city called me and asked me to stay. The board president called me and asked me to stay because I'm homegrown. I said, I have to go. I'm leaving. The politics have shifted here, and this is no longer compatible with me or my spirit. So I packed my bags, so to speak, and went to Newark and started over. And now let's put a cap at the end of this. And I won the Milken Award in the new city.
See?
Y'all hear me? So if you don't know what the Milken Award is, somebody out there, Google it. Milken. Google it. It took me leaving the city that produced me. I'm born and raised. I'm teacher of the year there. Building, district, county, and New Jersey state finalist. I've done some work in that town. I'm principal there. We did some work there, but the politics shifted. I didn't want to be there anymore. Go to Newark, never worked there in my life, and get the Milken Award. Amongst other national accolades and recognition. So sometimes you got to leave. Sometimes you got to do unconventional things in order for you to be able to experience what God has for you. How about that?
Amen to that. Purpose. Purpose. Yes, sir.
So with that said, Jessica, you know, you sent me that, you know, in the speaker world, we call it a one sheet, right? That's the one, you know, so that's, you know, that's when I saw it, that's what my mind, because a lot of speakers don't use those anymore. But when I came into the business, you couldn't stay alive without one. That document you sent me, you couldn't survive this speaking industry if you didn't have one of those. So we call it a one sheet. So with that one sheet you sent me, I want to quote it. You said you are passionate. You are passionate. You are a passion. Well, I put it in second person. You are a passionate advocate for diverse learners. Well, you said I. So I'm a passionate advocate for diverse learners and strive to provide an inclusive and supportive environment dedicated to meet their needs to help them reach both academic and life goals. I want you to tell us, because I read that. I read it a few times because when I was making a decision as to how I wanted to structure this agenda, and I like that quote. Bring that to life for us. What does that look like? If just for the sake of the audience, because I'm asking you the question after reading a whole quote, I want to read it again. I'm a passionate advocate for diverse learners and strive to provide an inclusive and supportive environment dedicated to meet their needs and help them reach both academic and life goals. What does that look like, Jessica, for a leader?
Well, we need to know our students. First and foremost, we in my district, we have 96,000 students, and our school in particular is in an area that is that can be perceived as challenging. It's challenging not because of it's historically been a challenging area. So, it just has been. But anyhow, we have to know our students, where they come from, and provide their needs that will help them be able to grow. And that's both academic and behaviors. We have a program that one of our other assistant principals was a part of at another school, or heard about it at another school, that allowed students to come in and do more kind of like a course recovery during the school day, so that they can catch up and get on grade level. So we piloted it at our school, and it has made such a difference in the number of students to help increase our graduation rate. That is something that we had to change because we needed to meet the needs of our students. Our students come from parents who may not have even graduated high school. And so to stress to them that you need to come to school every day, at least try to come to school as many days a week. I mean, that was a change that we had to embark on when we came to Shawnee. Um, we increased our attendance so much that they had a party for us with the local radio station. They had a whole party for our school.
Wow.
Because of our attendance increase. And we had to make sure that we provided an environment that our kids wanted to be at. We have all diverse students. I won't say it's a black or white issue. It is a poor issue. Our students have that in common. We're pretty much 50-50 black and white, but they're all, from lower socioeconomic groups. So they have that in common. So we provide whatever they need. We allow them to be themselves. We have LGBTQ plus staff members that have a vibrant group that meets with students. We have a BSU, Black Student Union group. We have an increase of students that speak a second language. I mean, English is their second language. We really want to get to know our students, and we provide that support that all students need so that they can thrive and be successful. It's not about everybody going to college, because college isn't for everyone. So we bring in speakers and give them experiences that are, job related. Some students might need to be referred to Job Corps, so they don't have to come to school. School may not just be the thing for them. So I'm passionate about trying to figure out what they need and helping them grow both academically and behaviorally.
I love it. Let me ask you this, Jessica. The LGBTQ plus club, or what activity, whatever that is, I guess is a club, and then the BSU, Black Student Union. Were these in place before you got there in that role?
No. And we our students tell us what they want, and we find a way to make it happen. And so we had a lot of students that and nobody looks at them differently. We have students that are a part of that community, and everybody supports them. I know we've heard about some schools that are not as a safe place for them, but we are a safe place. Everybody is welcome. Everybody is treated, with kindness, and everyone feels free and open in whatever group that they identify with.
Love it. Let me move on. And folks out there, we getting down to the wire. So stay in there, hang in there with us. We getting there. I'm almost there. Tera, I typically when I have a guest on that are not authors of books, then I typically will ask if you could send me some talking points, as I did for the three of you, just so that I could make sure that I'm compatible with you. And then sometime I get to the talking points, and sometime I don't. Most of these questions have been my own, but I'm at but I'm getting down to the end, and now I'm really where some of the things you all sent. So Tera, you sent me something that I literally sat here and applauded. I said, this is a master class. And what you did was you broke down leadership mission in terms of how you see it, your leadership mission, leadership vision, leadership beliefs. And I thoroughly enjoyed the breakdown, and you sent it to me as an outline. And I could have done all my questions to you just based on what you sent me, because it was so rich in terms of what you sent to me. But I wanted to look at something. Under your leadership beliefs, you've got these 8 categories, and that's where I wanted to focus on the belief, and I want to focus on one of the categories, because there's so much there. Probably gonna bring you back and dive into some of the other components, but this one you had called being loyal. And it resonated with me, because I'm a stickler for that. You know, it's long, you know, in the work capacity and in life outside of the work, all you got to do is break my trust.
Mhm.
And I may have demonstrated to you for the past 10, 20, 30 years that I'm down with you,
Mhm.
right? But now you violated that bond. You violated that trust. Or you might be someone that worked with me in a building, and I was good to you,
Mhm.
but I heard something, and then I found out it's true, and you dog me behind my back. I can't look at you the same way no more now, you know. So somebody might say that's petty, but not me, man. If I hired you, if I saw something in you, and I put some money in your wallet and gave you this position, and then I heard you not loyal to me,
Mhm.
right? Like you in the teachers lounge trashing me.
Mhm.
I got an issue with that. I mean,
Right.
though, again, fam, if it's petty to you, it's all good. We don't all think alike. But for me, if I hired you, I'm expecting you down with me,
Mhm.
and I'm down with you.
Mhm.
It's a two-way street. So with that said, let me get this breakdown. What you wrote, you said giving and showing firm and constant support, allegiance to a person or organization. Quote, you can count on me, end quote. And then finally, we are all on the same team. We are in the same boat rowing together. That's what I just said it my way, right? Talk to us about this significance of loyalty.
Well, I wrote that actually last year because I was moved to a different building. I'm now at the central office where we have the early learning center where I work with preschool students. And for whatever reason, they didn't appear to be on the same page with everything. And so my goal was to improve or establish and maintain a positive culture. Not that the person before me had done anything wrong. It's just that I saw that we needed to be on the same page. And that to me requires loyalty. I am loyal to the people that I work with. My faculty and staff will tell you, especially even on social media, it's very common for me to mention that if I see something on social media that's negative about the Early Learning Center,
Mm,
that person won't have the pleasure of commenting anymore because they will be blocked. And we don't tolerate that kind of thing. We
mm,
want our social media space to be positive. We want our building to be positive. We want our faculty and staff to operate in a positive manner. And in so doing, it does require loyalty. They may not agree with everything that I say. They may not agree with everything that I do, but they've got to believe that I am there for them. I share stories all the time that if I hear or see a parent or anybody saying anything negative about them, I take issue with that. And I
yeah.
always tell them that they are a reflection of the Early Learning Center and of our district, whether they're working or outside of work. And so that loyalty is so important. We have to be on the same team. We embrace the concept of a family, but just recently we kind of took a step back from that because sometimes your family may not look like my family, and there may be a lot of dysfunction in your family. So we're now embracing this idea of a team, that we're all on the same team, working for the same goal, and we all have a role to play on that team.
I love it. I love it. That loyalty, man. It matters. It matters truly. You know, Melissa, in what you sent me, a key talking point for you was mentorship. And I'm just going to put it out here. I personally never had a mentor in my life on a personal level, a teaching level, a principal level, a consultant level, a speaker level. I have had to figure this out, but I do know, at least I think I know, that had I had a mentor in these various capacities, I mean, I had people who were professionally assigned to me, but that's not what I mean, and that's not what I interpreted from you. When I think of mentorship, I mean that one that takes me under the wing, not that person who by salary is assigned to me, right? But that one that takes me, like, I see you. Let me holler at you. Let me take you under the wing. See, I didn't have that, and I had to figure it out. But what I was getting ready to say before I interrupted myself, had I had that, yeah, I know, right? Had I had that, I always wonder, I probably wonder this every day. Would I have been a better teacher, principal, speaker, consultant, etc., had someone shown me the ropes? Like I'm looking at people from a distance. Like, let me drop a name. Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu, for those of you that know that name, that wrote a zillion books, but the ones he's most known for are the 4-volume set of Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. So Dr. Kunjufu always wrote these thin books. And you'll notice every book I write is thin. Well, that came from him, right? Because he was my mentor from afar. A lot of people say to me, Kafele, you my mentor from afar. So he was my mentor from afar. What he did, I would emulate, right? So it's just that I didn't have the luxury of being under his wing, but he put enough out there in terms of his work, his role, that I could emulate a lot of that and sort of shape it and mold it into Kafele, right? So that I'm not trying to be a little miniature Jawanza Kunjufu. So I'm saying all that to say this, to ask you the question, Melissa, why is mentorship so significant with you in terms of it being one of your talking points, one of your areas of focus? And what should it look like in a school? I want to ask you two ways: between a leader being mentored and a teacher being mentored by a leader.
Okay. So you said a leader being mentored by a teacher?
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Reverse that. Teacher being mentored by a leader.
Oh, teacher being okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. A teacher mentorship is really important. You asked the question, if you had a mentor all those many years ago, what would have happened? We probably would have been on 186,000 episodes of the Great AP Academy rather than week 186. And that's okay, right?
Right.
The fact is that we get where we get when we need to get there, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that as a leader, it is important for us to exhibit, inspect what we expect from our teachers. And teachers know fake, teachers know real, students know fake, students know real. And so I think that it's important that we are aware, we as leaders are aware of what we're doing, how we talk, how we engage with each other as leaders, as well as we engage with teachers, because everybody's watching. I mean, and whether you want them to or not, like, that's the bottom line. People are watching. You're in your position for a purpose. It's always purpose over position, right? And so hopefully, as a mentor, your goal is to create teachers who could be future leaders that are going to shape our future leaders or our future of this world, which are our students. And so I think mentorship in leadership, leaders being mentors to teachers, it's really important. And we just have to be very aware, be very situationally aware of what we're doing, how we're presenting information, how we build relationships with not only our teachers, but even those outside, because teachers are watching, parents are watching, community members are watching, everybody is watching. And so just that mentorship, like the light is on you, ta-da, like make your show come alive, make your vision come alive. Like, that's really important. There was something else you asked, Kafele. You said what else?
I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it. Yeah,
Okay.
you nailed it. You know, I got one more question for y'all. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to assign it. Whoever wants to jump in, I would like to hear from all three, but I'm gonna just throw it out there, and whoever wants to go, just go. I'm an assistant principal, and I'm an aspiring principal. I want the principalship very badly. I just understand that the sequence in my district is assistant principal first. I do my job every day. I'm pretty much just going by the job description, and discipline might be a large part of what I do. My question to you is, because I'm somebody on this call right now, or I'm someone who will see this video later. My question is, how can I shine brighter while still doing what's expected of me, but being noticed in terms of what it is that I could bring to a school as a principal? Anybody? How can I shine brighter?
Go,
Oh,
Jessica.
who's gonna go? I see. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Jessica.
Well, you have to make sure that you conduct yourself with the attitude of a leader, and you walk the walk, and you talk the talk. So you put yourself in positions where um, are you attending various organizations? Are you a part of various organizations to support yourself in leadership? Are you being visible at board meetings? Are you going the extra mile, being seen as a leader? Are you bringing it back to your school? Are you leading faculty meetings? Are you going out and representing your school as, the assistant principal, but the aspiring leader? Attending conferences, growing again in your professionalism, and growing your craft. So again, positive communication, and no one wants to work with anyone who is negative about their school. So how are you presenting your school in a positive light? Are you communicating on social media in a positive way? So you make sure that you are visible and you're seen as a leader, so that there's no doubt that you are who you say you are. You are a leader for your school. You're a leader for students. Those relationships matter. The work that you do behind the scene is always in the light in the same sense, because people know what you're doing. And so as long as you're doing the work, you will be noticed.
Love it. Love it. I know you wanted to jump in there, Melissa.
Nah, Jessica, she did it all. Like,
You
she
know,
did it all.
Tara, you wanted to jump in there at all?
I think she did a great job of sharing that. So
Yeah. All right. Let's go to our rapid fire questions. Since it's three of you, I broke it up into almost 777. But we go seven. Yeah, it is 777. The last question, though, I'm gonna give you all three of you the same question. So let me start with Melissa. 21 questions. I mean, 7 questions, Melissa. One, you already know the spiel. One word answer, one sentence max. If you're getting ready to throw a comma in there, it's too long, right? Here we go. Is education on the right path for underserved children?
It's getting there.
Can true equity, we didn't even talk about that word, but can true equity occur in America's schools for Black, brown, and other underserved students?
If we're educated, yeah.
Does Melissa Jones Chunu's work contribute to the progress we desperately need?
Absolutely.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
The same.
Why do you continue to do this work?
All about the babies.
What fires you up within the work that you do?
My 2 kids, Jason and Hannah.
And what do you absolutely love about this work?
Relationships.
Jessica, what do you dislike about the work you do?
Upsetting parents sometimes.
What has been your greatest victory in this work thus far?
Helping students go to college.
What has been your greatest mistake in this work thus far?
Not taking the time I need to take for self-care.
What has been your greatest challenge in this work?
Probably the same thing, self-care.
That's what I'm saying. Are you proud of your first year as an assistant principal?
Yes.
And in this capacity that you find yourself in now, are you proud of, is this your first year in this capacity?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. So are you proud of your first year as principal of Freshman Academy?
Yes.
Who inspires you in the work that you do?
You,
Oh,
as well as my mentor principal and several leaders I follow online.
good stuff. Tera, what are you reading right now? It could be a book, blog, article. It could be a tweet, anything.
The Power of a Positive Team by John Gordon. We're doing that as a book study with my faculty.
Oh, okay. And you lost your light.
Uh-oh. I didn't do anything different.
Oh, no, it changed. You got it back. What book would you recommend for our viewers?
Any of your books. I've got them all. I'm reading the Assistant Principal Identity right now. I don't know what's going on with my light, but that's what I'm reading right now.
I appreciate you. What do you want to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet?
I eventually might consider going back to school to work on my PhD because I want to do more with students that are Black and brown like me.
I hear that. Are you satisfied with where you are professionally right now?
Not exactly, because I still have that goal to accomplish. So I'm almost there.
What could you say to a viewer out there who continues to face closed doors?
Don't give up, keep pushing, and surround yourself with people that can support you and help you.
What could you say to a viewer out there who's lost their fire?
Oh, do whatever it takes to get it back. Surround yourself with people that can help you.
And if Tera, Blackshire, Scott was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Oh gosh. Passionate about my work.
And Jessica, if Jessica Jones was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
A hope dealer.
Hope dealer. And Melissa, if Melissa Jones Chunu was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Servant leader, child of God.
Woo. Love all three of them. Hey, y'all. Look what time it is. Almost 1 o'clock Eastern. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate it, man. Just a ton of great information out there, I think, for the folks out there that tune in or who watch the videos later. I see you all started, but you know where I'm going. If the session today resonated with you, if you enjoyed it, if you liked it, if it added value, if you found it useful, if you can take some of these nuggets back to school, hit us up, y'all. Give us those emojis. Let us know you already started, but I see them. Yeah, give us those emojis. Give us those emojis. Let us know whatever your favorite emoji is. That's how we applaud the guests. And now it's kind of funny that I'm bringing out my big emoji because the one that handed it to me is sitting on the screen, right? So I always bring out mine at the conclusion of every session when I got a guest. I even bring it out when I run solo, right? So y'all hit grand slams. You went to bat 4 times each, hit it out the park each time, 4 runs batted in. So I don't know the math when 3 of y'all went to bat 4 times and score 4 each time. You can do the math, but whatever the math is, y'all did it, man. This was on fire. I see them emojis still coming. I see all them flames. This was on fire. Hey, there could be folks out there that want to stay in touch with you. Let me start with Melissa. How do they reach out to you if they want to continue the dialogue, including your social media?
Okay, well, you can reach me on Facebook. I'm under Melissa Jones Chunu. That's CHUNU. You chew your food, buy new shoes. You can reach me by email at lisi114@hotmail.com. My phone number, and I've had my same number since I was 16, and I'm
Are you sure
44
you
now.
want to put it out there?
I wait about that.
All right.
Yes, sir. It's 918-855-7325. You could also DM me on Facebook. But yeah.
There you go. Jessica, how can they get in touch with you? Or social media, whatever you want.
The only social media I have is Twitter as of right
I noticed that. Go ahead. Trying to tag you on all these pages. But go ahead.
I am the Mrs. Jones AP. And my email, personal email account is jessrjones05@gmail.com.
Good stuff. Tara.
I am available on Facebook at Tera Blackshire Scott. I'm also on Twitter at Tera7. I'm sorry, at Tera Scott7. And you can email me on my personal email, terascott20@gmail.com.
And I'll take the liberty to say I don't know either of the three to be speakers or consultants. We've never had that conversation. But if you heard something today and you said we need Melissa or Jessica or Tara at our school or in our district or at our conference, then you know how to reach them, right? I guess I just made y'all speakers, right? So you so you know how to reach them, y'all, because you know you don't know what God got in store for a whole lot of things, man. So y'all know how to reach them. All right. Once again, thank you to the three of you. This was dynamite. It was everything I expected it to be, and I appreciate you for answering the call and spending a couple hours with me on a Saturday morning, talking to America's leaders, particularly America's young leaders, APs, and new principals. Stay with me while I do the rundown, even when I finish, so we can talk off camera. Hey, y'all, to the fam out there, I want to thank you as well. Thanks for being here for week 186. If you're new to the platform, then you got 185 other sessions that you need to check out, right? So just go to the YouTube. Anytime my man Vincent Stallings says great conversation, I got to put it up there because that's my dog, man. So yeah, we go way back, high school, right? So I lost my train. Hey, Stallings, you made me lose my train of thought, man. I don't know what I was saying, right? So, oh yeah. So next year, my wife, she just reminded me. So next week, y'all, join me. I'm doing another AP session. I got Dr. Naima Smith, who is actually on here right now. Here she is right here. So she'll be with us next week from New York State. Sherelle Benders from Newark, New Jersey. And AJ Bianco, young man I met online. He's somewhere in New Jersey. I think he's down in South Jersey, but I got two Jersey folks, and then I got Dr. Naima from New York. So New York, New Jersey area leaders coming on next week. So you want to be here for that. And then the week after, and I got a cameo coming on next week for about 5 minutes. Dr. Don Parker, his new book is out. So he'll be on, I don't know where it's at, it's somewhere. But he'll be on next week to just talk for about 5 minutes about his new book. He's already been a guest with us. So I told him, I said, I got to get you on so the folks know your book. So he'll do a cameo next week. So join me then at 10:55. So let me give you this rundown, then I'm out, y'all. Next Saturday, 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt on Facebook Live, all of these, followed by Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor with Create and Educate at 10:30. Unlock the Middle with my guy, Principal Josh Tovar, and Dean Packard at 7 o'clock on Sunday nights on Facebook Live. And in the Village Leadership Group with Dr. Roz Gaskins and her sister, Coach Williams, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6. She was my guest, maybe, I don't know, less than a year ago. Check her out. Just go through the YouTube channel and scroll and you'll see it. Visit principalkafele.com. That's my website, y'all. Stay on the website. Check it out. I always add new stuff on there, videos and blogs and all that. And my AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel, we update. We renovated that bad boy, man. That thing is, if I could use the language, that thing is fly, right? Go to my YouTube channel, man, and I categorized everything. It's organized now. It wasn't organized before. It was just everything was like right there in your face. Now I got these categories. If you want to check out some of my keynote addresses, right, it's there in a category. If you want to check out just the solos from Saturday, we got that in a category of playlists. And then if you just want to see the lives, you could do that. You know, I had to, you know, since the thing has grown, I had to get it right. You know, now I won't take credit for that. That was my youngest son. He was kind of on my case. He was like, I don't like your YouTube channel. That's what he said to me. I don't like it. And I kept listening to him say it. He was saying it for like months. I don't like it. All right, man, but it's good for me. So finally, I'm like, all right, what are you talking about? What you want? So he showed me. He said, I sent him a text. He's at work. He said, I like that. I love your page now. So sometimes you got to listen to them younger voices, right? So big up to Jabari. Where we at? I'm done. Make sure you like and follow the AP and New Principals Academy Facebook page, y'all. Make sure you follow that, like it, because I'm writing that essay in the morning, man. I write it by 10 o'clock every morning. That's commitment, y'all. I got 108 of them things, man. I got 108 of those essays. If you don't read them, check them out. If you never read them, go to the page and just scroll. That's what that page is really for, those essays. And then lastly, your diet, your exercise, and your COVID precautions. Make sure you are taking care of yourself. And as an aside, that has nothing to do with anything, but I'm going to say it anyway. All of y'all that was loving Coach Prime, keep that same energy, right? So what, they losing a little bit. He gonna get it right. I'm gonna say it again, man. Somebody said, where this coming from? Like, why he even saying that? Because back in the beginning, I kept saying, I'm getting ready to watch Colorado, and I ain't been saying that lately. I didn't even know they played last night. But with that score, I didn't need to see it either. But I'm gonna tell you this, I still love Coach Prime. So those of you that was loving Coach Prime, hey, Stallings, you ain't got nothing to say? You usually got something to say on this kind of stuff. Is that what them little laugh emojis are? Those of you that was loving Coach Prime, keep that same energy. Just because the game been winning lately. Oh, there go my daughter. They still keep that energy, because he's gonna turn this thing around for next season. I'm confident of that. It's just you know, it's just, you know, learning pain, man. He gonna get it right. He never coached at this level before. You don't come in at this level and be that big superstar. I know he thought he was, but it's coming. As he always say, I'm coming, right? So enough of that, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I see y'all next Saturday at 10:55 Eastern time with week number 187. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I see y'all next week, man. Y'all stay there.